Guy with a Wrench, coming at you with another video. If you watched my last video, you already know what I'm working on. So follow me over here and let's get it done. I'm going to put one of these into this. So let's go. Okay, here's the water pump that needs to be replaced. Before I go pulling the water pump out, there's a couple of things I want to recommend before you proceed here. And it's replacing this belt. I have not changed this belt since I rebuilt this engine years ago. So this is a good time for me to just go ahead and put a new belt on just for peace of mind. Down below here, this is the crankshaft. I put this bolt back in here so I could turn it clockwise in order for me to get this thing top dead center before I remove this belt. If you look here, there should be an E marking inside the pulley. I can get the flashlight to stay still. I can show you what I mean. There's an E right below right there, and there's a notch right by the teeth on this pulley. You want this notch to be in line with this little V that's on top of the valve cover. If you come down below, you got this little notch here, and you want that notch to be in line with this little arrow right there. I don't know if you can see it. I'm trying my best to get a hold of it right there, but there's a little arrow. You want these two to be in line. Once you get those two pulleys in line, you want to come over here and check your distributor. And you got number 4 spark plug right here, piston that goes back into your distributor cap, which is this one down below. Let me see if I can show it better. But it's this spark plug wire down below. You remove your distributor cap, and you're going to see that the rotor should be pointing to number 4, which is down here at the bottom. And if you run that wire, it goes back to piston number 4. As long as you got all these spaces covered, you should be able to pull that belt off, replace it with a new one, and proceed to installing everything to include what you got in here for, which is the water pump. This right here is a good time to get this a good cleaning before you put anything back on. Use whatever chemical you need to. I just use a degreaser and then hit this up with a brake cleaner, and it gets all this gunk out of here. So hit it up, clean it up, and then put everything back on. All right, I got this as clean as I could get it. Let's go outside, see if I got some parts. If you want less hassle, I recommend putting something like a high temp silicone on the part where the gasket goes on, in order for the gasket to sit there perfectly while you're trying to install this back onto the engine. This saves the hassle of this flopping around on you while you're trying to screw it back on. I'm also going to drop a little bit of silicone on the engine side where the water pump goes onto to have a proper seal. I went ahead and put the nuts and bolts on this water pump. I put them on there lightly, basically snugged them on there in order for me to let that silicone kind of harden up a little bit. So I'm going to come back later on and torque them all down and continue on. All right, I'm almost done. Finally torqued down the nuts and bolts to the water pump, to the engine. I also went ahead and installed the tensioner, but I didn't fasten this bolt all the way down. It's kind of loose because what I want to do right now is crank the crankshaft 2 rotations in order for this tensioner to do its job. Once I get the proper tension on here, I'm going to tighten these up and get this ready to go so I can put the cover on. Once you've done the 2 rotations at the crankshaft, make sure you still have all your points where they need to be. For instance, the E still between the V, and down at the bottom, this notch with the arrow that's pointing directly on it. And you also want to come over here and check your distributor and make sure it's still pointing down at number 4. Now you should be able to put your timing cover back on and proceed from there. Okay, I got her all put together. I dropped in some antifreeze. I'm going to go ahead and give her the first crank. And I hope everything's timed correctly and ready to go. Just got back from Utah, and the Samurai ran great under extreme conditions and extremely hot weather. Water pump held up just fine. and she ran like a champ. I did have one little snafu on the Samurai that you could probably identify in the video. If you're a wrencher like me, take a minute to look sharply at this video and tell me what you see that's broken. When you identify the broken part, I want you to go down to the comment and write down wrencher, and like that I'll know that you're just like me, regular old guy in your garage wrenching on a daily basis. But in the meantime, while I figure out my next move, like always, keep wrenching.